came here as a freshman until now, what parts of your game have grown the most?
Mostly for me, it's kind of just all of like playing football. When I got here, I was really like fresh and raw. I feel like I needed a year of development, learning the playbook, the route tree, and everything like that. So I feel like that year it was needed for me. I don't think I was ready to be out on the field as a freshman, but I feel like coming into my sophomore year, I'm very ready to play.
And then we've heard that you're the fastest guy on the team. Can you tell us about your track background and how you've worked to get that speed?
I really think it's been genetic. I've always been fast. Both my parents ran track at the University of Florida, so I feel like growing up, I did run track in high school. I wouldn't say I was like something crazy. I didn't even win states or anything like that. But out here, I definitely am the fastest on the team.
Isaiah, with your smaller stature obviously out there, how do you kind of battle that element of it, making sure that you can stay healthy and take the pounding that obviously you're going to take playing probably 12, 13 games this year?
I would say prehab is the best rehab. And I feel like obviously I'm not a 200-pound receiver or anything like that, but I feel like technique beats strength every time. So kind of just learning the whole pad level and the balance of just running, especially when running into a bigger DB, using your hands and stuff like that. It's always going to beat strength or size every time.
What are some of the elements of that prehab that you're referring to?
I feel like for a guy like me, I feel like I get out of my breaks a lot quicker than other people, and that can put a toll on your knees. So kind of just making sure before practice and after practice every day, we have this new thing called the Immortal. It's almost like a futuristic sauna if you'll take that, but I'm in there after every practice. After every practice, I'm also in the cold tub. Before practice, I'm with the trainers for about an hour before we have our meetings. But yeah.
Michael and Justin.
For Caleb, when did you get the nickname of Jet? When did that?
Yeah, around 7 to 8 years old. My dad gave it to me. I was really like faster than everybody growing up. I was really like the fastest. And then around 7, 8 years old, I ran like a fastest man competition, and I won that. And that's really like how everybody knew me as Jet.
What do most people call you who know you well?
My family calls me Caleb, but like football, like high school, everybody on the football team call me Jet, and a lot of people here call me Jet as well.
How would you describe what the adjustment from high school to college has been like?
I'll say the speed is a lot different. Bigger players too, so just being able to play fast at a high level is really the main thing I'm trying to get out of going to high school to college.
Justin and Jason.
You're getting some reps at punt returner. What has it been like just getting those reps and just kind of learning that position?
Yeah, it's been good so far. Going to spring to fall camp, I feel like I've got a lot more comfortable. It's been a lot easier for me because high school the punts were as high, but going to college the punts are really high. So just getting adapted to that really has helped me here.
Bobby Wade has also been a punt returner at the NFL level and obviously a receiver. What have you learned from him in both regards?
Yeah, I learned a lot. High school, I didn't really know much about punt return. I just really caught the ball and ran. But Coach Bob has taught me a lot about returning, looking where the punter's going to punt the ball, just reading how it's going to go off his foot, and just what to do when the ball's in my hands.
Do you feel like playing in a bigger stadium at Allen and playing in that environment has helped you with punt returning and playing under the lights and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course. I feel like that's helped me a lot because, there's a lot of fans in Texas. Every game's really packed, so that's really helped me a lot. Just playing around a lot of people is going to help me at the college level.
Jason and then David.
For Isaiah, Bobby mentioned that, for both you guys actually, that one of the things that he stresses is just forgetting about if you guys drop the pass and moving on to the next play. How has he kind of got that message across, maybe through some struggles throughout camp or whatever may come your way?
I feel like every meeting or even after practice, he harps on next play, like a next play mentality, because anything that happened in the past, it's just going to hurt you in the future. I feel like, especially when I'm at practice, if I drop the ball prior to like the next play or anything like that, I feel like me like kind of just leeching off that it's just going to hurt me the next play. I'm kind of just got to move on. Go fish mentality. Ted Lasso, what you think?
Probably the same thing he said. I just having a short mindset, just next play really matters the most. Just if I drop a ball, it's just next play. It's more important to me.
David and then Michael.
Caleb, you have a little bit of an unusual number for a wide receiver, 20. I always think you're a running back when I see you out there. Was there any significance to 20?
Nah, it was just really special teams wise. I had a different number, but it changed into 20 because of special teams wise. So it's just really special teams.
And I think just kind of going back to what you were talking about earlier, like you said you're in with the trainers for an hour before practice. Like, what are you doing for an hour to kind of get ready for practice?
So ever since last year, because last year I was struggling with tendonitis in my knees, and it was a real struggle. Even like being a 2 last year, just like playing. So it's almost a warm up, I guess you could say. Then getting into meetings and after, I would say it's about a hour of rehab after practice.
Michael and then Juan.
Isaiah, you're obviously from across the country. In Florida, you had a bunch of Midwest and East Coast type schools that were recruiting you. Why did you ultimately decide to come to Arizona?
Ultimately, on my visit, it was kind of glaringly obvious. Like going to other schools, I'm not gonna name any schools, but when you see the visit, they're trying to sell you on a dream. And when I came here, they weren't selling me on anything. They were just telling me what it is straight up. And I could see how the brotherhood that the players had was real, and it wasn't just what they would do in the facility and outside. They would just not be together and be on their own little thing. I feel like here we're in the facility with each other, like really tight, but outside the facility, whether it's on social media, on the game, or just like going out, we're always together. So that sold me the
Who
most.
was your host when you came?
It's a funny story. Chris Hunter was my host, but really, he didn't really host me for real. It was really Montana. Yeah, Montana hosted me mostly on my visit.
Juan and then Justin.
Coach Doege talks about how the offense is moving at almost a hyper speed. You guys feel that out there, and what's it been like for you through this training camp?
Feels like it's moving at a super speed, especially when it's that hot outside. But I feel like that only plays in our advantage. So when somebody comes out here and it's 100 degrees outside and we're saying yee after we just hit a 40-yard bomb and they're out of breath and we're about to throw another ball or run a play, I don't think anybody in the country could deal with that.
Yeah.
Justin, sorry. Go ahead.
Want me to say something? Oh yeah, I would say the same thing. Playing fast is going to help us a lot, especially the weather. You know how hot it is here. It's going to really help us against other teams. Just playing fast is going to be easier for us because a lot of people are going to be tired, but we're going to be adapted to how fast we play in practice.
Justin and Damien.
For both of you guys, who are veteran receivers that have mentored you or have helped you along the way?
Well, obviously, last year I was behind K Hut, and the thing I'd probably say it's K Hut and Chris Hunter, but last year I want to say K Hut taught me the most, basically route running. But I feel like off the field, Chris has taught me, like I said, prehab is the best rehab. Then I feel like football IQ too, and like just really being like a man, like living alone out here, like just being a man by yourself and how you're supposed to go about that. I've kind of learned that off Chris.
Yeah, I would say Gio and Rod have helped me out a lot, especially Gio. He was kind of in my spot last year, and he's really taught me a lot of things about college, practice, everything, and I really just listened to him a lot. And then Rod, you know how he's been in college for a while now, but he's helped me a lot just how college is, how to attack meetings and everything like that.
Damien and then David.
For Caleb, what are the conversations, if any, been like with RJ as you two guys come in the same position, obviously different specific position,
Yeah.
but the Harold the freshman look, all that?
Yeah, RJ is really my best friend probably on the team. We've got really close over the past 7 months. I remember first time I met RJ, Coach Wade made us go to Coach Brendan's house. I picked RJ up. It was my first time meeting him, and we just really bonded from there. So it's really been a strong relationship between me and him. We teach each other stuff all the time, and yeah. Just like on the field, routes, how he runs routes, how I run routes, and how I can give him advice and how he can give me advice. Even though he's a tall receiver, he can help me out as well.
How different are you two guys, you think?
Like on the field or like personality-wise? On the field, I feel like RJ, I feel like he's probably one of the best jump ball receivers I've ever seen in person. He can really get any ball that's in the air. And when I see him, the ball in the air going to him, I'm really confident he can catch the ball. Personality-wise, we're really the same, very quiet.
Extroverted. Not introverted. So.
Yeah, we're very quiet, but we're always close together. Yeah.
Our last two will be David and then Michael.
Have you two raced, and who wins?
I'll win in a race.
Nah, I really think I could win, but we haven't raced yet. I really want to, but we haven't yet.
We were supposed to over the summer, but
Yeah. Got a little bit too busy over the summer.
And for Isaiah, there seems to be a historic number of guys from the South that are on this team. I'm talking, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama. Why do you think that is?
In my personal opinion, I feel like the South just produces dogs, and I feel like when you look at the history of people that have made it to the NFL, especially at the skill position, we're the best.
But then why do you think, because normally you guys stay home, stay South, why do you think maybe more guys are starting to leave the South now?
I really don't have an answer for that. I truly feel like maybe I could say NIL, or it's only 4 conferences now, I guess. I really don't know.
Michael?
For Caleb, we've seen some of the plays that they've involved you in. We can't really say exactly what those are, but how would you describe your skill set and what they're sort of trying to utilize, the ways that they're trying to utilize you on offense?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of this, a little bit the same as high school. In high school, I was really like a short receiver, like short yardage, like really third down, bubbles, all that. But I got a little bit here. They let me go deep a little, using my speed a lot. So that's really the difference. And that's really just how I really view myself as a receiver, going deep and just short routes as well.
What's your kind of mindset or mentality when the ball's in your hands?
Oh, I got to go get it. That's the mindset I have all the time. I feel like every time the ball's in the air, I'm going to get the ball.
And once you have it,
I'm going to score. That's the goal every time.
We'll fit in one last one with Justin.
Jet, how familiar are you with Jets? And-
Oh, no, I don't know anything about him, to be honest with you. Yeah. No idea.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.
Have a good one.
What was that follow-up going to be there, Justin?
Are you F-16? F-14? Tomcat?
What jet are you?
A-10?
I didn't know what you were asking. Seriously, you were asking about planes?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you meant like the New York Jets or something. I was kind of confused.
That's what I thought.
You a Jets fan?
That's what I thought it was first, too.
Whoever's in the back, you want to let me know when you're good to go? Awesome. All right, thanks for being here, everybody. We're going to go straight into questions for Coach Doege. Start with Justin and then Juan.
Are you at a point right now where you have a backup quarterback, and who is that guy? What have you seen out of him?
Yeah, we're gonna roll with Sawyer. He's had a tremendous camp. I think what kind of separated him was the explosive plays. He just had way more explosive than the rest of them. And I'm really proud of him. Especially where he's at in his development, because he's still a young player, he's a redshirt freshman. But he did such a good job of being in the hip of Braden Locke and Noah Fafita last year, and that really gave him an advantage when it comes to like processing the scheme and knowing where to go with the football. Obviously, I knew he was a talented football player. Bringing him here, I really like the eval on him, but you never know when they get here of how fast they're going to process things, and he's picked it up. Faster than a lot of kids I've been around. I think the mobility part gives him another dimension to his game. His ability to throw off platform and create outside the pocket's been, he's made a couple throws this camp that just are like, whoa, that's super impressive. And that's unique to him. And so I'm really excited about it. I have a ton of confidence in him. It's part of the reason why I didn't bring a transfer in, is because I believed in those young guys, and I knew one of them was going to separate himself. And he's tough. That's probably the best thing about Sawyer Anderson, is he's one of the toughest kids I've ever been around. When it comes, you can coach him hard. He'll accept the coach and he'll apply it. He never gets too down. He never gets too up. He battles through injuries. I mean, this kid is tough, and that's exactly what you want in a quarterback. So I'm excited about his growth, and I'm excited about him being in that spot, because I have a lot of confidence if we had to play with Sawyer Anderson, that we'd be in a good spot and we could win Big 12 football games. So I'm excited about him. He's had a tremendous camp. I'm really proud of him, and that's the direction we're going to go for right now.
Juan and then Jason.
What improvements have you seen from your young wide receivers like RJ and Caleb since the start of training camp?
Them just getting familiar with what we do. I think both of those guys have tremendous skill sets. I mean, just talking about Jet, Caleb. He's very, very fast. He's very smooth. And Bobby's eval, coming out of high school was like, he's a little guy, but he's a little guy with tremendous ball skills. So he's got tremendous body control. He can turn 180 and still spin with the ball, catch it clean, and stay on his feet. He's got natural feel for space. Obviously, he's really fast. And the other thing is he just tracks the ball extremely well. That's why, obviously he's going to have an opportunity to be a returner for us as a freshman. It's just because he can, he's fearless and he catches the football. That's you guys heard me talk about when it comes to slot receivers. To me, they got to be tough and they have to have some fearlessness about them, and going across the middle and digging out linebackers that are bigger than them, and knowing that you're going to get hit at times on crossing routes and things of that nature. The Jet never shies away, so he's progressing well. And you never saw him really hit a freshman wall. He just kind of pushed through all that stuff. So that told me he's a little bit tougher than most at his age. And then RJ, you saw it in the summer. Sometimes like he would just go and make these incredible catches, but you just didn't know if he knew what he was doing yet. And it was just almost like if the ball was up, he was coming down with it. And now that he's gotten comfortable with the scheme a little bit, knowing like, okay, what's my split? Is it -2? Is it +2? Is it divider? Is it on the hash? Like, what if we're stacked? Are we not stacked? Like, all that other stuff that he's having to try to kind of battle through his mind right now and get the signal really fast. Even though I just ran a go route, I got to come back and get a signal and line up fast. All that's starting to slow down for him, so you're starting to see him play a little bit more consistent. But his ability to go get a 50-50 ball is unmatched. I mean, that's obviously been proven through camp. He's still got some growth left, for us to really count on him as an everyday receiver. He reminds me a little bit of Mizell last year, where Mizell made some really big time plays in camp, but there's still some inconsistencies there for him to be a starter for us and play meaningful time. Now he'll play for us. It's going to be up to him on how much.
Jason and then David.
Compared to the offense last year, how expanded is it this year in terms of how much more you were able to put in your second year?
I think, our baseline stuff is still there. We're allowed to get in and out of things a little bit quicker just because of Noah's mastery of it. We can call 2 plays and he can see identify what we're looking for and go after one or the other. A lot of motions, obviously there's some sets that we're doing that are a little bit different from last year, not to give up too much, in the media, but, it's expanded. I wouldn't say it's expanded too much, but it's definitely expanded, and we're allowed to, and the reason it's expanded is because of Noah. Noah's allowing us to do a lot of different things because of his ability to process and get us in and out quickly, so obviously we don't get, we don't have a bunch of penalties sitting there trying to figure out what we're going to run. What is he going to check to? What is he going to, get in and out of? Obviously Noah's just special in that way, and so we're allowed to do a lot of creative things, but we also have stuff that we do really well that we're going to hang our hats on, and go attack that way too. So, I'm excited to kind of showcase, some of the stuff that we've been practicing that nobody's seen yet, but I'm also excited to watch those guys play really fast on the stuff that we're really good at as well.
David and then Damien.
Realistically, Seth, how many of these receivers do you think will play this year?
It's tough to say. I think we have, 8 or 9 right now that you feel really confident that they can go in there and execute. Like if they're on the field, you're like, you don't blink an eye. Obviously there's there's Sticks, there's Spivey, and there's Gio that will roll out there first, like those are the guys. But then Mizell comes in quickly, and then Rod comes in quickly. B. Phelps, plays a significant role. And then, how does RJ continue to develop? How much do you put him in there? And then obviously the Jet, the Jet gives you a dynamic that, some of those others don't in that slot. So there's obviously we got a healthy group there. You know, if they all stay healthy, that's going to be a challenge to make sure they all have somewhat of an opportunity to help us. But at the same time, you know, what gives us the best chance to win that day? And what does that rotation look like? I think that's week by week. You know, what we're trying to attack, how the scheme is, all that kind of stuff. But I do like that group, and Bobby does such a good job of managing it. You know, you guys heard me talk about it. I think Bobby's one of the best in the country, not just because he's really good at teaching the fundamentals and the receiver play, but he does such a good job of creating trust amongst that group, because you do have a significant number of receivers that all want the ball and they all want to be the guy. He's just created a real culture in that room where it's like team first, and that's hard to do sometimes when you got a bunch of world-class athletes that want the football. And so
For a large time in this program, before you guys got here, we saw a lot of passing outside the hashes. Last year, it seemed like we saw more passing inside the hashes. What allows your scheme to be successful in that?
yeah, I mean, I feel like we can do either or. You know, I think it comes down to what are they trying to defend? Are they giving up they giving up that part of the field, outside of the part of the field, or are they going to let you have some space in between? I do think we run some option routes and some choice routes over the middle that give us a chance, and we got really good at them. And so a lot of crossers that have some option routes to them that give us a chance through the middle, so it's just not dead versus specific coverages. You know, our guys, and then we have smart slots. Like Gio's really, really smart. He can make decisions very quickly. If you don't have that, Rod's really smart. He can make decisions really quickly. If you don't have that, and you want to run all those deep choices across the middle, crossing routes that have options across the middle, and the decisions are made too late, well, you're sacked. You know, and so that gives us a chance. And then obviously some of our quick game stuff that we're manipulating, depending on scheme, you know, it allows us to get the ball over the middle quickly, and puts the ball in play, which I really like. You know, I want to put the ball in play and let those dudes go make their money. So.
Damien in the back, and then Nathaniel.
Seth, you touched on it a second ago, but given Noah's command of the playbook, how does that same playbook get altered if Sawyer's called into action?
The greatest thing about Sawyer is I don't feel like I have to alter it that much. You know, obviously, you know, I'm going to do, if he's in the game, I'm going to call plays that Sawyer's good at. And so that might alter like the way I call the game. But we go into a game, he's going to know the same game plan as Noah, and because he can handle it. Now, does he have it as mastered as Noah does? Not yet. You know, and that's where I got to be really specific on how I call it, but he'll know it, and because he's extremely smart and he works really hard at it. Like, that's one thing that he does just as well as, you know, not as well, but I mean, Noah's elite at prepping. But Sawyer works extremely hard, probably harder than most of the backup quarterbacks or redshirt freshman quarterbacks in the country. Like, that dude is here all the time. And if Noah's in the film room, Sawyer's in the film room with him. And so the ability to process as much of what we're doing with Noah, he's able to handle. You know, if he gets in the game, does that, you know, the way I call it change? Maybe a little bit, you know, just depending on, there might be a few calls in there that I don't know if he's ready for, you know, we want to specifically do it for Noah because of the expansion of what we're doing, but I'm very confident that he can handle a lot and can go execute anything that we call.
Nathaniel and Mike.
Yeah, just curious on your thoughts on the left side of the offensive line. I know Rhino gets a lot of praise for his versatility and his ability to kind of play anywhere there, along with Lotto, from experience improving from last year to now.
Those two guys?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Obviously, ton of confidence in both of them. You know, Rhino, we've really challenged Rhino to use his hands in a specific way that, you know, will give him a little bit more at the point of attack and pass pro. But I thought he's done a great job of kind of developing, you know, just the processing part, because we have a ton of calls up front. Now, Oglesby has a very complex system, but when you get it, when you understand it and you can play fast in it, it gives you all the tools that you need to block any movement, any front, any pressures. I mean, we got a ton of answers there. And I think, you know, moving, you know, like when Rhino was coming back from surgery last year and being implemented back into it, you know, it's just one of those things, like everybody just thinks, and coaches included, we get to this world where it's like, oh, we're going to get this kid back, but he hasn't practiced. Well, he had the meetings and he had those walkthroughs, but he didn't practice. He hadn't seen this type of speed and this type of violent intent in a long time. And that's different. And I know it's like easy to say, well, he's back, he's healthy. Well, he hasn't practiced. So he's not going to be playing at extreme high level because he hasn't seen or felt that type of speed in a long time. Well, I just thought like last year it took him a minute to kind of get back in the rhythm, and then obviously getting his confidence back where going through spring, summer, and now in fall camp, you just kind of see him really start to progress in like some of the stuff that we've challenged him. And then Lotto the same way. You know, Lotto last fall camp, if you asked me, you know, are we going to play Lotto at tackle, I would have been like, we're in trouble, because I didn't think he was ready. And then about midway through the season, he had to play because out of necessity, and he went in there and competed, and he did a great job, and that really sparked some confidence in him because he's long, he's big. You know, it took him a minute to get into true shape on how we want to play, but he's gotten really strong over the summer. You know, I think that was a big point of emphasis, and he's worked on his flexibility to play out on the edge. And so I'm really proud of kind of his development, and I have a lot of confidence in Lotto. You know, he's arguably, you know, might be our best tackle on the team right now, him and T. Bounds. So I'm excited about his progress and where he's going. Like, I think Lotto has a really, really bright future.
Michael and then Justin.
2 questions. The first one, on average, how many plays do you go into a game with?
Well, there was a study. I did a study over the off season, and I talked to Dirk Cutter a little bit about it, because Dirk was my OC in Atlanta, the one year I spent in Atlanta, and he was like, you know, the time I spent with him, I was just so impressed. Like, he was just like one of those people, like you're just around for a little bit of your life, but he had such an impact on me, even as a player. And so I've always thought he was really, really, really good at what he does. And so I'm just kind of reaching out to people on some stuff that I can get better at in the off season. And one thing was just kind of like his efficiency on game planning and his efficiency on his call sheet, and coming up with a specific number on like how many plays you carry on certain situations. And so, you know, looking back at like my call sheet from last year, and like how many plays were actually called versus how many we script or how many we carried, how many we got to actually practice, like normal down calls all the way to, you know, 3rd and long, 3rd and medium, 3rd and short, high red, low red, goal line, get back on track extreme, 2-minute, like all that stuff. And we came up with, you know, obviously this would take a long time to really get into like the nitty gritty, but the truth is like I want to cut down on that. You know, I think I carried way too much, especially on normal control downs, you know, 1st and 2nd on track calls. You know, you're carrying, you know, somewhere between, I want to say I averaged somewhere between maybe 60 to 70 calls on that call sheet, when we called maybe 45 to 48, you know. And then, so you think about that, and as a play caller on that call sheet, you're thinking, well, I want to have enough. And then you also go into a game thinking, well, what if they do something different? You have some calls there that you can adjust to. The issue with that is, how do you practice them all, right? And so carrying less is going to allow us to practice a little bit more versus different looks. Like, obviously, you're practicing each play versus the top call they have, then their second top call, and then there might be an issue call. Okay, we call this play, there's a pressure that's going to give us an issue. What's the answer? So we're teaching that to the quarterback or whatever. But sometimes you get to it, if you're carrying too much, you might just get to walk through that. And then you want to go out there and call it in real speed and wonder why it doesn't work, because you walked through it one time. You know what I mean? And so that's just kind of my mindset now, is just trying to get those plays that we're going to carry repped as much as possible. And then I still think you can adjust. You know, you get, you know, like, for instance, in the NAU game, like, I have an idea what this guy's going to do, but I don't know. He's never been a coordinator before. You know what I mean? I know his background. And I know, like, you know, I've talked to a lot of people that think, you know, have an idea of, like, what he believes in. But that doesn't mean he has the same personnel that he did at Montana State that he does at NAU. I don't know his personnel, you know, so I don't know if we're going to come down and make, you know, obviously he's been a 4-down guy. He's been around 4-down people. He might come down and play 3-down just because that's what they have personnel-wise. Luckily, we got a chance to watch it game 1, but that's where it's like, okay, I still think we have enough base scheme, enough rules built to we don't have to carry as many plays. We can adjust on the fly and be able to make those calls, and our guys still execute without having to overload them during the week with a bunch of calls you're not gonna call.
The second question is, in your internal discussions with your fellow coaches about who's going to do what, personnel deployment, et cetera, what impact has the 5-for-5 change had on that, where you no longer have to, you know, worry about cutting a guy off for 4 games?
Yeah, I think, it's like Jet and RJ, for instance, if they give us some value, then, that you continue to push that. That's really it. Those young guys, like if they are able to play at this level, it's just so hard. You want to think just because they were just highly recruited kids and they have the ability to come play, yes, from a skill level, there's no doubt, but there's a mentality part to it, there's a learning part to it, there's a speed part to it, there's all this stuff that you have to really gotta to create in their process. And it's just, I just haven't seen a whole lot of young guys play at a really high level before. Obviously you have your exceptions, and I do think Jet will play for us. But at that point, in our personnel discussions, there is no limitations now. Who the best player plays.
Justin and Jason.
Well, speaking of 5-for-5, you got Ismail Mahdi back. How has he looked in the time that he's been with the team?
Yeah, he's been awesome. I mean, obviously I love having him here, and I think I said this when, it first came out, but the team loves Mahdi. Our guys love Mahdi. The running back room loves Mahdi. The coaches love Mahdi. The O-linemen love Mahdi. Noah loves Mahdi. So just having Mahdi around has been value for us. And obviously I can't predict the future, nor can I get into what's really going on with the appeals and the court rulings. But I love having him here, and he's having a great time, and he looks really good. So, hopefully it all works out for him.
And his old running backs coach, Alonzo Carter, they have a week 0 game. What was it like working with Zoe in the last year, and what do you think about this week and this new opportunity for him?
Yeah, I'm super excited for Zoe. I think back when I first interviewed here, I had a coach that coached with me, put me in contact with him. I got here late. They put me in the graduate, and this coach told me to call Coach Carter. And so I call him, and I'm like, "Hey man, can you give me the answers to the test? Because I really want this thing to happen." And he did. He really like I like to say, put me on game, and really helped me through that process. And then ever since I showed up, he just always had my back. And obviously he does a tremendous job with the relationship with the kids, but he also does a great job of keeping the glue within the staff. And so he was just really beneficial for me that first year, just because I was the new guy trying to implement a system, trying to implement a culture. I'm pretty intense. I demand a lot. I have a high standard. I coach the kids hard, and he had my back the entire way. So I'm forever grateful for Coach Carter, and I wish him nothing but the best. I know he's going to have a lot of success.
The last two will be Jason and David.
Brett told us that Noah has a crazy note-taking process. What can you tell us or give us insight about what that looks like from him?
Well, so his notes, I mean, he obviously used to write them. Now he has an iPad that he types everything on. It's color coordinated, it's extremely organized, and he usually rewrites them, right? So for instance, I'll give you an example. In fall camp, especially late, maybe a night meeting, you finish the tape. Okay, maybe we go through a cut-up that I've made about a certain coverage or a certain look, or maybe you run out of cut-ups. And so we're sitting there and maybe a story happens. So you're telling a story to the group, and it gets kind of quiet there because you're kind of like listening or whatever to a guy. But the whole time the story's going on, I just hear this typing behind me. And it's either him, and he's not taking notes on the story. He's either just rewriting his notes or he's reorganizing his notes, and they're incredible. And anytime I talk to an NFL scout, I'm like, guys, I don't know how you got to do it. Maybe I need to do it, but let's go print out just one page, just so you can see how organized and how detailed these notes are. Because if I say something, it's getting written down, right? It could be something that I resaid from a day one install. He's still going to retype it. So like the cool thing about Noah, one of the things that I think that really separates him is this. It's almost like this beginner's mindset every day. So no matter what we're meeting about, whether it's install 1 or it's a game plan prep for NAU, the notes are being taken as if he's never heard them before. And then like I said, he may have all these notes and we're going fast, so they're not organized. So the time that he has, okay, there's 5 minutes I let him out 5 minutes early. He knows he has 5 minutes. Well, he'll stay there for 5 minutes and try to reorganize everything and retype them, right? It's incredible. And you should see, like I was talking to Coach Carroll about it, on his lifting card. He'll turn on his lifting card, and there'll be notes everywhere on his lifting card about what band he used, the weight he used, if it was a little bit different than what he did. I mean, the guy is just so detailed, and now it just makes total sense. And even Tanner talked to the team, Tanner McLaughlin talked to the team after today's workout, and actually gave a shout out to Noah. And I know a lot of people, like, we're always talking about Noah, but he gave a shout out to Noah, and he told the team, like, this dude he wasn't just like this now. He's been like this since he was a freshman. And so his process has almost delivered him to where we're actually talking about him every time somebody takes the stage and talks about Arizona football, and it's incredible. It's elite. I've never seen anybody do it like that. I wish I took notes like that. I think I'd be a better coordinator. But this dude, it's funny because Noah challenges me to be better. Sometimes you're around really good players and you're like, man, that guy was really fun to coach. And Noah's extremely fun to coach. And I'm extremely grateful to be part of his journey, but I'm learning just as much from him than he's learning from me. Like, he's making me better too, because it's a constant challenge for me to be my very best for him, because he's given me his very best. I mean, it's just incredible. So I love that kid, and I love that he's our quarterback.
We'll finish up with David.
Coach, Gio Richardson appears to be having a really good camp. What has stood out to you about what he's done in these 17 days?
Hey, I'm not surprised with Gio. Even last year when he started coming on, I would always make comments to Bobby in the headset of, like, this kid's gonna be different. He's gonna catch 80 to 90 balls for us, just because he's fast. He's really tough. He's got great route running ability. He's got great feels for space. He's extremely intelligent. And I mean, all of those, like I said, like, those are like exactly what I want in a slot. And so he's just crushing it, man. He's kind of like he's like the receiver version of Noah when it comes to processing. Like, we can draw up a pretty significant, complex thought and go out there, and Gio is, without even repping it, gonna execute it. Where a lot of guys, like, I was a rep guy, when I played, I needed those reps before I could go really truly execute a play. And most people are like that. Most kids are. They need those reps, where Gio is just one of those guys you can plug in, and majority of the time he's gonna go execute it exactly the way you wanted it. And so I'm really pleased with his development. I think he's gonna have an unbelievable year. He's completely bought into what we're doing. It's funny, I'll give you this, it's probably a little bit vulnerable of me, but he called me out today. Okay, he held me accountable, because we had a 2-minute, we're down there, we throw like a little corner route to Rod to get like on the 10-yard line. It's gonna be easy chip shot. We're down 2, that was the situation. We drop the ball, we have to kick it. So sometimes, as a frustration OC, you say, man, if we got to catch that. If we catch that, game over for sure, And Gio comes to me after practice and says, Coach, we know. I said, what do you mean you know? He says, we know we need to catch the ball. Just like you need to call a play. We don't ever say, call a play, Coach. So we don't need you to hear you say, catch the ball. And I was like, you're damn right. You're damn right. And so own it, fix it, because he's spot on. And he didn't do it maliciously. He didn't do it, Gio is kind of a prick now, and I love that about him. He is. But that makes Gio. But, like, we have such a tight relationship. Our coaches and our kids, we have that type of relationship. We can have communication like that. And he can come up and say, hey, he can tell me that, knowing that that's going to hit. And it hit. And so own it, fix it. I don't think I never need to say anything out like that again, because I know those kids are playing hard. I know they want to catch the ball. And if they hear me say something like that, that doesn't do any good, Just like a bunch of people telling me to call a play, that doesn't do me any good. I know I got to call a play, And so he's a special talent, a special kid, and I'm really excited about Gio and what he's going to do this year.
Thank you, everybody.